Airlines Flight 5342 out of Wichita, Kansas to Reagan Airport, which is actually in Arlington, Virginia, outside of Washington. They collided. The collided into a Black Hawk helicopter. There were 60 passengers on this plane, 4 crew members, and then 3 crew members on a Black Hawk helicopter coming out of Fort Belvoir, Virginia, which is only 14 miles away. They were doing night training, and no one knows what happened. It's a blatant error, has to be pilot error or control error of some kind. Everyone was killed. Went into the Potomac River, which no telling how frigid those waters were last night. But a total of 67 died. The helicopter, the Black Hawk, was coming out of, like I said, Fort Belvoir, and let's see, it was the Bravo Company, the 12th Aviation Battalion, and had an instructor, a male instructor, female pilot, and a crew chief. I know the young man, the crew chief, was a sergeant, and then there was a CWO2 and a captain. And there was 14 on the airline. There was, I think, 14 figure skaters out of Boston, skating club of some kind, ice skating club, and I think they were Russian, weren't they? Or
yeah, they were Russian.
Some were Russian,
Mm-hmm.
Which has no, I don't think that has anything to do with anything. But you know, and the bad thing about it is, the curious thing about it is for one thing, it happening, and these were all experienced pilots, and I think the man had, the instructor, I guess he was the instructor, had like 1,000 hours, 500 hours for the pilot, hundreds of hours for the crew chief on missions, and we don't know what happened, but somebody dropped the ball or something. And since everyone's gone, they're looking into it. President Trump had a statement about it today, and so did Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and Secretary of Transportation, Sean. What's his name? Sean Duffy. And
Here, I'm gonna cut you off right there real quick. Let me see your mic real quick, because turn it on and off.
no, it's on.
It's on?
Yeah, I had mine off too. So.
Try it again. Give me a test.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
I completely lost you. Test me now.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
All right, there we go. I got you.
All right. Sorry about that. First time out live.
There you are. There, I got you now.
Good, cool. Anyway, he did mention, he's been getting some flack because he did mention some, stopping the DEI hiring, which he's gotten some grief about it because that was not the time to talk about it. But, they're talking about hiring the best and the brightest for these jobs. And that's not what in the military and civilian and government jobs, that's not what they've been going by. Would you say?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's crazy what they're doing nowadays. They're just trying to fill quotas. That's all it really is filling quotas and making everybody feel good about themselves. And that doesn't breed quality. That doesn't breed, what do you call it? Lost my word. It doesn't bring out the best in anything.
No. And it makes others resentful, I think.
Well, it does make others resentful.
Because I've been in those situations.
Because if you're not going after, like, I worked my butt off to get to this position, and then you're going to come and take this guy over here and just throw him in my position that I've been working for, yeah, that I would not be exactly happy about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a tragedy, and hey, our hearts go out, prayers to the families of these people, because you're talking about 67 people that passed away in this tragedy, and So if you have 67 people pass away, you got hundreds of people this is affected. So our prayers go out to all the family and friends of these folks. But they say they're going to get to the bottom of this. They're not just going to sweep it under the rug and feed the public some kind of a bogus reason why this all happened. You know, I think in any way there's nothing on purpose or anything like that I can tell. It's just a pilot error, or it could be a combination air traffic control problem. I'm not going to say it is because I don't know it is. I know that they were on a skeleton crew type. They didn't have a full crew at the traffic control, which can make a real big difference because that's a high stress job.
Oh, it is. It is. From what I understand, the actual pilot was not the pilot. The air traffic controller was working 2 towers at the same time. From what I understand,
that's unsat. It's like back when they went on strike and Reagan, he fired all of them because you can't. This is a job that's it's like firefighters or police officers. It's you have to have that. I mean, a lot of safety involved. You got to make sure they're well trained, and you got to be a sharp cat to be a air traffic controller. You can't just pick somebody up because their gender or their color or their religious beliefs or their ethnicity. You can't just hire them for those reasons. So I know they've been doing that because they said they've been doing it, but I'm not saying that's the reason why this happened. I'm just saying that is a problem that needs to be addressed also. But I don't know that I've ever heard of an accident quite like that.
No, not in my lifetime. I mean, that's just crazy because the helicopter was at the same level as a plane coming in in the exact path of the plane coming in. I mean,
and that's a number one no-no. You don't have them on the same course, And I haven't heard, they've already heard the tapes and all that, and apparently there was some bad miscommunication in the situation, and we lost 67 individuals in the process. But what else you got? You got anything else on that?
Oh, no, the bad. This DEI is ridiculous, and it causes more problems than it fixes.
No, it's going to stop.
It causes way too much problems for what they are trying to address.
Mm-hmm.
Which I do believe Arkansas was actually working on ending affirmative action right there.
Yes.
Which
I don't know if that's gone through the committee yet. It's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard the only problem, it didn't have a lot of teeth in it. In other words, it's a good bill with no repercussions if they don't do what they're supposed to do.
Well, the thing is,
there's no punishment if you don't abide by it.
Well, the thing is that, one, affirmative action is unconstitutional in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
So getting rid of affirmative action doesn't do anything. It's just we're going to follow the Constitution as is. They have been breaking the Constitution just to, get affirmative action in place.
Mm-hmm.
Which, once again, it doesn't do anything. It just puts people into place to make them feel better. Because of policies that they can get loans and all that. What was it called?
DEI goes further than just
well, it's mandated by
action,
companies is what it is. They got to have that social policies in place so that you get your loans and all that.
It's mainly affected by civil service jobs. You can't tell a private company, that they can get in a lawsuit over it, I guess, but they can't really be told they have to abide by it. And some do, some don't. I guess that's the owner's choice. But I think it's ridiculous. I would never get involved with it. There's no way you're going to get your best people for that way. I mean, I've seen it happen in programs in colleges.
And look how that's done for them in colleges with all these protests going across the way.
Yeah. And today in the news, we also had Robert F. Kennedy Jr. In front of the Senate committee, and we had Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence Robert F. Kennedy Jr., if you don't know, is going up for is being nominated for Secretary of Health and Human Services. Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence, which is a high-profile, very powerful job. Basically, she's an intelligence advisor to the president. And you also had who else do we have?
Kash Patel.
Yeah, Kash Patel, of course.
Ooh,
FBI
Kash Patel
director.
was on fire. I tell you what.
And I'm gonna tell you what, they drilled down on these folks today. All the Democrats did was sit there and try to judge their character. Never mention anything about the job they're going to do.
Oh no,
just about what they've done, what kind of person they are, things they've heard, and it was all just bogus. And Kash Patel, I didn't see all of them. I saw a lot of Kash Patel. He did real well by just not getting into their cobweb they wanted to get into. Kept telling me getting him to testify what he said on the grand jury and all that, which he wasn't supposed to. And of course, Adam Schiff, he was in his normal butthole attitude, lying, cheating attitude he has all the time. He was in his normal performance, the bug-eyed beast. I call him the bug-eyed beast.
Wide a couple times.
Huh?
You see them eyes get wide a couple times.
His eyes stay wide because he's trying to keep up with his lies.
Mm-hmm.
But I about had it, and Kash Patel handled him quite well, I feel like. And of course, everything's a one-way street with them. Why did asking them if they if he agreed with pardoning the J6 crew and all that, which they kept calling them insurrectionists, and I don't know how they can call them insurrectionists when they don't call it an insurrection. If it wasn't an insurrection, they can't be insurrectionists. But anyway, that's my opinion on it.
Well, they've been trying to get it called an insurrection this whole time, but they never got through.
They had no weapons. I've never seen an insurrection with no weapons, especially in the United States. I would not think you would have one. You wouldn't be real smart to have an insurrection without any weapons. But
I know. I got this one question. What is taking over one building going to do? That's what I want to know. They keep saying, oh, it's an insurrection. They're going to take over the government.
Without weapons, nothing. I mean, It's not going to.
One building and no actual means of holding that building. And even if they do get that building, what are they going to do?
They never mentioned the lady that, and I don't remember her name, unfortunately, but the lady that did get killed by the Capitol Police. And I'm not saying anything against the Capitol Police. They got their mission. I'm sure they're fine folks, and they're following orders. So I'm not going to dog them. I'm going to dog the leadership like Nancy Pelosi, the ones that control them, that just didn't do their job, and which was a total fiasco. But anyway, they're trying to peg him with that, like he condoned and the whole thing. And but he handled himself well. Tulsi Gabbard handled herself well. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
He did all right.
He had a 2-day. They've been really ramming it on him.
Have you seen old Elizabeth Warren on there going after him? Are you going to promise not to take any money from or take money from or bankrupt the pharmaceutical companies? Like, don't you take money from them? Aren't you getting some money from them? I guarantee you, every single one.
That was Sanders, wasn't it? He was telling Sanders blew up. I don't get any money from the pharmaceutical companies.
Oh, he actually got someone with that.
I'm sure he did. He said he did. I don't know if he did or not. Bernie Sanders.
Someone actually showed me a little list of all the senators making money out of that. Let's see if I can find that. There's a list of all the senators making all this money off that, and Miss Warren's. You promised not to take money from this. Like,
yeah, she's one to talk.
Not to.
And but I think they all did well today. I don't know if they got out of the committee. I think they did. I'm sure they did because it was predominantly Republican. But they have not been confirmed yet, but I'm sure that's coming next. But I'll tell you how slow motion they're running on this cabinet. And I'm saying slow motion because if it was the other way around and Biden was president right now and he was choosing his cabinet and they were dragging their feet like the Democrats are, they would be beside themselves. But, in the way our world is right, well, we got our Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, but we don't have an Attorney General yet confirmed. So we got Scott
Bissett, whose Secretary of Treasury has been confirmed. You got Doug Burgum, whose Secretary of Interior has been confirmed. Sean Duffy, Secretary of Transportation, who's been confirmed, and he had to go right to work the next day. I mean, he was like confirmed a day or two ago, and here we have this tragic accident. Which the last Secretary of Transportation was Pete Buttigieg, who was implemented all this DEI. That's all he cared about, and you know how successful he was. He was on the watch of the. He was under in the watch that had the train rail accident in East Palestine, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And
I still can't believe that nonsense.
I'm surprised they're not trying to blame this airplane crash last night on Trump because of his new cabinet, but it's too soon. This is all leftover stuff.
They did try to blame him a little bit because
the
former head of transportation quit as soon as he came into office, and so there was no one in office to.
Well, yeah, because he was going to get fired.
Well, yeah. So they were trying to do that, but there's no way they can.
Yeah,
it's all going to be his former policies. You can't just say that this is Trump's fault when it's all his former policies. He hasn't changed everything yet. He can't just instantly go in there and just completely change everything. But he has done a lot.
Yeah. If Biden had been president, he wouldn't have had a conference about it. Mm-hmm. I doubt.
He would have. It would have been recorded, though.
Yeah. Been on X or something. He'd made a statement.
Mm-hmm.
But then we got Pete Hegseth, who's been confirmed, thank God, to Secretary of Defense. And then you go all the way over to Kristi Noem. Secretary of Homeland Security has been confirmed. John Ratcliffe, CIA. Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. Lee Zeldin, the EPA. So all these have been confirmed. But you haven't even got to Pam Bondi. They haven't got to Pam Bondi for Attorney General, which is an important job. It needs to be filled.
What's Pam Bondi going to do?
Attorney General.
All right.
And I know she's had her committee hearing because she jumped all over. Who was it? She jumped all over. Let's see.
I didn't see that yet.
Oh yeah, she Adam Schiff, I believe.
I wouldn't.
She jumped all
who
over
couldn't
him.
Jump over Adam Schiff?
And Lori Chavez DeRemer, Secretary of Labor. Doug Collins, Veteran Affairs. Tulsi Gabbard. Linda McMahon, Education. Howard Lutnick, Secretary of Commerce. SBA, Kelly Loeffler, which that's not a big one. Jameson Greer, Trade Representative. Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. United Nations Ambassador, or our U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Elise Stefanik. Scott Turner, HUD, Housing and Urban Development Secretary. Russell Vaught, OMB. Chris Wright, Secretary of Energy. So, they ought to have all these done. I mean, they drag their feet because they don't give a crap about.
Well, no, they're going to start losing money. The bureaucracy is going to do what's in the favor of the bureaucracy. That's the main thing. You saw that whole thing about James O'Keefe and that one guy who was claimed to be part of the deep state. So there's ways to get around all this. We can hold all this for off for 2 years just by kicking the bucket down the road a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say, well, we're going to do this policy right here. Okay, well, we're going to do a study on that policy first, and we're going to hold that for 2 years, and then nothing ever gets done about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the smart thing to do on that is Trump needs to be on these people and saying, hey, how's that study going? Okay, fine. If you're not going to do it, executive action.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we didn't have anybody. I didn't get a report today from the legislature what happened today, but I know there was, what's supposed to happen on the agenda. What happens is usually two different things. They cancel a lot of meetings. They'll move them. And there's, let me go to that. I know there's a interesting bill by Representative King, and I don't know if it's come up for the committee yet, but it's to get rid of the lieutenant governor's office.
Yeah, I heard about that. So, what's so important about the lieutenant governor's office?
Okay, the lieutenant governor's only purpose is to take over if the governor is incapable or passes away or what have you. So, and it has happened before. I mean, I remember Jimmy Guy Tucker, who when he was governor, he resigned from being in trouble, and Mike Huckabee took over.
Yeah,
and he was lieutenant governor. Which you have to have that. And they're the president of the Senate, just like the vice president of the United States is the president of the Senate, U.S. Senate. But do you have to have that? There's a lot of money that goes to that position.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what their budget is, but I think they even expanded it this year. And Leslie Rutledge is a current lieutenant governor. So why the question is, why couldn't you have the president pro tem of the Senate, who is next in line, who would actually, I guess, would be the president of the Senate if you didn't have a lieutenant governor, would be the next in line, you know.
Well, the only issue I see with that is we didn't elect that guy for that position. So if the governor does go out, you know,
lieutenant governor, you mean?
No, not the lieutenant governor. If the governor is taken out and we don't have a lieutenant governor and it's going to be the head of the Senate, that's just like skipping a whole thing.
Well, it's never.
That's like if we actually had Trump in office and, you know, we had Mike Pence, but that's just like if we got rid of Mike Pence right then and there, Nancy Pelosi would have immediately become.
That's just the way. Yeah, that's the way it is. I mean,
so it's to me, it's like a.
I mean, I don't have a problem with
I
that.
I understand what you're saying, but it's just like it's not who we elected to be in that position. If Sarah Sanders gets kicked out or gets, you know, Lord forbid, goes missing, I don't know this person. I don't know who's the head of the Senate right now in Arkansas.
Bart Hester.
Bart Hester. So I don't know him very well. I don't know his.
I know him as well as I know Leslie Rutledge. Myself,
well, exactly, but
I mean,
I knew her as the Supreme Court.
No, she was an attorney general.
Attorney general. I knew her as the attorney general because she's the one who did
because they swap around
ruling.
positions up there, executive branch of the state government. They go from one to the other. Like it's kind of like a club. It's just you go you run for the next office. You know, you're Secretary of State, become Attorney General, becomes Lieutenant Governor becomes Governor. It seems like that's the way it always runs.
That's an issue that we need to talk about also, but.
That's another story.
I know
there's nothing you can do about it. You know, I mean, it's anybody can run, but it does give them an advantage to be able to step into the next position because they're so well known.
Exactly.
But that again, that's freedom of, you know, they have the right to do that. But I don't know. I wouldn't be against it because of who would take over instead of the lieutenant governor. That's myself personally.
Well,
I don't have a problem with the
the main
president.
thing is like national. It's very even down the field.
It's
right now. But here in Arkansas, we have a super majority,
yeah, but
so it's not that big of an issue here. So
right. You know, you're right. But it could be if you had but you know, that's just part of the deal, you know. But then again, in Arkansas, you actually can have a Democrat lieutenant governor and a Republican governor.
Oh,
because
really?
Because there's two different elections. It's not like the presidential election where you run together. They don't run together. So you vote for each one.
The more you know. I learned something today.
Well, you voted for the two different things.
I voted for them. I just didn't pay attention that well, I guess. See, this is why we're all here, guys. We are here to learn, and we're going to all go on this journey together. We are going to learn some things today.
Well, anyway, that's an interesting bill. I don't know how. It's probably going to have a hard time. I bet it's going to have a hard time. But
I don't see it going anywhere.
No, I mean,
I see the point, but I don't see the purpose.
And then, that one's a strange one, yeah. And then they've got the DEI bill. We just said that, didn't we? You mentioned that.
We did, yeah. We talked about that.
And Let's see the limit, which is.
Well, if you got any links over there, send them to me, and I can put them up on the screen.
Well, I'm looking here.
I can press buttons over here, guys. We can do stuff.
Here we go.
But yeah, I'm ready to see a lot of this DEI stuff getting out of here. But I'm also super excited about all of these immigration bills going through at the national level. Getting all these, they're
knocking down some
executive
doors.
orders.
They're knocking down some doors on that.
Mm-hmm. They're going to Chicago. They're going to New York. They're kicking people out. Someone was telling me that you go to Home Depot or some other places around New York, and it's just like silent. There's like no one there. I wonder if I can find that video.
Yeah, I'm having trouble finding this. So many bills in here.
I don't think I could pull up YouTube while I'm live streaming YouTube.
I know there's a joint bill. It's HJR 1004 that I'm interested in. It hadn't come up yet, and it was supposed to come up, but it hadn't. And that's on Convention of States, Article 5, Convention of States.
Tell me about a Convention of States.
And
I'm
the reason why Representative Ladyman is bringing that forth, sponsoring that, and it is it's mainly the reason to have it would be it covers Article 5 Convention of States. We haven't had since I think 1787, basically, and it's to amend the Constitution without the people doing it rather than Congress doing it.
Yeah, so how that works is instead of actually getting Congress to agree, which, hell's probably frozen over by that time.
Well, term limits is actually why he's putting it up. Term limits for congressional officers, senators and representatives, which is now, you can run as much as you want. And I don't remember what I believe it's two. I believe it was 3 terms, maybe 3 or 4 terms for representatives, which are only 2 years, and it was 2 terms for senators, which are 6 years apiece, which would give you 12 years, which is plenty. And I think that's a lot of our problem that we have in Washington. You get to sit there and get comfortable, you get bought off, and all the above, and it's just it's not meant to be. And the reason the reason why the Founding Fathers put Article 5 Convention of States in there is because they saw where this could happen, where the government could get too big and too because you could actually everything that Trump's doing could easily be undone if we in another 4 to 8 years,
Exactly.
It could be undone.
But
some of these things you put in an amendment, some people are scared when they say, well, to ratify an amendment, you have to have 38 states agree, which is 3/4. Well, you're not going to get 38 states to agree on gun control or to get rid of the Second Amendment. That's not going to happen. There could be some other things that might be a little dicey, but there'd be more good out of it than bad is what I feel. Some people think it's like opening a can of worms, And it is actually. But I think it would come out better than worse. And it's nothing illegal. It's in the Constitution. It just has never been exercised. Now, if you ever got to – right now there's I'm thinking 20 states or so. Now, Arkansas has already, in 2019, did a resolution to apply that would support having a convention of states. So we're not one of the states that's not in the movement, but the movement has to get more states. It's like 20 states, but there are several states and I'll get into another show. I don't have them in front of me that are working on a resolution. But anyway, apparently we're working on a resolution. Representative
We just
Ladyman.
need to get them a little bit more redder, and that's the only
And
thing that's
I
holding
don't
us
know
up.
if it's going to go through or not, but it's not going to make it happen. It's just going to
We're going to come together at least.
Yeah, it'll send a letter to the president and the Congress that we are applying for that. So, but everybody, it is in the works. There's a lot of work going on. It's been coming for a long time, and I've spoke to some people about it during the leadership. You got a lot of people endorse it in national politics. You got Rubio endorses it, and let's see who else. Pete Hegseth. Trump has spoke of it. The vice president, J.D. Vance, supports it, even though Ohio hadn't done anything about it. But they, it just needs to get more word out to have it done, because Mark Levin was on his radio show, is a huge supporter of it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of places that I would think I would hear about it, I don't hear much about it. Whether it'll ever, I think it'll happen. It's just going to take some word of mouth out there to the different states to do this. And I'm interested to see it where this goes, because it's 2019 it passed, but then again, term limits need to be done.
They do.
I was involved in term limits in '92 here in Arkansas, and heavily involved in it. And they had included Congress, U.S. Congress, but then the Supreme Court said you cannot do that without an amendment to the Constitution. We could do it in our state. We did it by public vote, yeah. And
I mean, that's the best way to do it right there.
The legislature wouldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't have done it. And the U.S. Congress is not going to do it. Guess why?
All the money they get from it, all the benefits they get from it.
But we don't care about that. I don't care about that.
The problem is, all of our legislatures at the national and state, they're just getting so old now. I mean, Mitch McConnell's literally like passing out from a blood clot in his head. That's an exaggeration. But still, it's just like they're all just so old. There's one senator up there that she cannot even function right. She has to have a helper up there with her.
Yeah, that's too old. And I have nothing against older people running for office. I can't, because I did it. But I'm talking about, when you get to a certain age, though, when you can't do your job anymore, it's time to step down.
Well, they need to have mental acuity tests like they've been talking about this whole time.
I don't feel like I'm to that point. Donald Trump's not to that point.
I know.
And he's not young. He's
spry.
78 years old.
Yeah,
but he doesn't act 78. So I don't have a problem with that if they can do their job. I do have a problem when they can't do their job anymore and they don't know where they are, like Biden and McConnell. McConnell apparently doesn't, because he doesn't know how to support anything that's conservative. And if it doesn't put money in his pocket, he's not gonna go with it. So but the big thing is, there's even people that just stay forever and just get. They're the ones when the new ones come in. Well, let me tell you how it's going to go. I've been here for 35 years. And if you think you're going to come in here and change things, you're perfectly wrong. Well, that kind of crap's got to stop. Why? That's not what they're there for. They have as much power as the other congressman has been there. A guy that's sworn in to Congress or any political position has the same authority as somebody that's been there 40 years. Besides having seniority, the only thing seniority should do is get you some nice job. Now, while they're on chairman of the committee, they're somewhat ahead of them. But as far as their votes, they all have one vote.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm anxious to see how that ends up going. But I'm very interested in COS. If you ever see COS, Convention of States. And it's not a constitutional convention; it's a convention of states. And we have we do have a movement here in Arkansas to keep it going, to make sure But if we get 34 states, and we could get 34 states, because you got a lot of states that haven't done anything yet, like they haven't had any resolutions, like Idaho.
We also gained a lot of states in this last election, so.
Well, it I tell you where it has to happen is it happens in their legislature. Their legislature has to pass.
That's what I'm saying. They got a lot more red legislatures now.
Yeah, and I think that, and it doesn't need to be when they have a convention. There'll be more. There'll be several people from each state go. I guess depending on how big it is, but you only get one vote. It's kind of like the Electoral College, and this bill, I read some of it. It has a lot of penalties if you don't vote right, like legal penalties. Like if everybody decides to vote for a certain amendment, then and you don't vote that way, then there can be repercussions on that. So say you got 9 people that have to decide, how the state's going to vote on that amendment. So the amendment comes up to be ratified. 38 states have to agree on it. And it would be a dicey situation. It'd be interesting. It'd be historical. But it does open the keg there.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going to get a lot of things. You're not going to get done, and it's going to address. It needs to address the debt, balanced budgets.
It needs to address the census.
And you can do anything in one of these. You could get rid of the Department of Education. You could get rid of departments easily that are not adequate. Cut the fat. And I know you got this Doge Department of what's it called?
Department of Government Efficiency.
Yes, Elon Musk still. Okay, that's what that's for. But it's very difficult when you got Congress breathing down your neck wanting to spend money for all these lobbyists.
All they can do is just say, "Hey, they're spending this money on this. They're not actually have no actual power." That's the thing. All these people need to realize they actually don't have any power. They can just mention to Congress what's going on here, and maybe Trump can do something, and maybe Congress can do something, but Congress has to act on it, and that's the issue.
Yeah, because they got. It's a swamp, and to get rid of the swamp permanently, to get rid of it, you have to change things, and the only way you're going to change things is through a convention of states, and that's my feeling. Now, everybody's not going to feel that way, and it's a drastic move, but you know what? We need drastic action right now.
We need a lot of drastic action right now.
I mean, I know Trump's president, and everything looks good, and I think he's doing a great job so far. He's doing what he's going to say he's going to do. They're knocking down doors on this immigration, on this illegal immigration stuff. They're bringing the military in, and I see good things happening. Pete Hegseth, he's straightening the military. He's going to straighten the military out, get rid of the DEI, go back to war fighting, to what they're supposed to be doing, get their training back going, get ready for a real, if we have a real conflict that we can fight.
Mm-hmm. The problem with all that is it sounds great. It sounds awesome, but Trump's only going to be in for 4 more years.
Right.
And we got to make sure that we have good people behind him after he leaves.
Right.
And
you tend to not think about that. We're breathing right now, but time goes by. So, I would like to see somebody do something with a convention of states before Trump leaves office. Mm-hmm. And I'm not, and convention of states is not a dictatorship. It is a majority rules, but it's not a dictatorship. So 38 states decide. So the great thing about it, as Trump would say, the beautiful thing about it is that California doesn't get 50 votes and Arkansas gets 6. Each state gets 1 vote. So that changes a whole, if it was like the Electoral College, if you went by population, it would be a tough road. Mm-hmm. But if you go by each state gets a vote, just like they did back in the colonial days, they sent delegates from each state and they decided on our Constitution. So, and Articles of Confederation was the same and all those. And if we can get another one of those happening, because I think it's long overdue. Right now, you can add an amendment to the Constitution. It has to go through Congress. And there's not been many, and I can't name the ones in the last 100 years, but there hadn't been a whole lot of new amendments to the Constitution. but because that's not an easy thing to do. But if you have a convention of states, it kind of, I'm trying to think of an example it'd be like, in a analogy of it would be like, I'm not going to say filing bankruptcy. Like a business,
like a business
selling and regrouping, you know,
Yeah.
and you like all the rules are changed and everything's on the board. You know, you can get rid of amendments, you can add amendments, and I know it's a very scary thought when you think about it. You know, but I think it would serve more good than bad because there's some things that need to be adjusted, and I don't need to make it progressive, but there needs to be just common sense put back into it because the Constitution has a lot of amendments. It doesn't cover all the problems we got now.
Well, they allow us to change it, but it's just going to be such a slow pace to do it.
There'll be a fight, and then there'll be a pushback too.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be interesting to see. Even though it's legal, it's in the Constitution, but that doesn't always mean anything.
Well, could Congress actually do something against that, though?
No.
I mean, could they do like
president
what happened to
can't
us and no.
No.
That's not legit. You can't do that.
Not legally. I mean, you know, again,
Not legally.
not constitutionally they can't, and the president can't either. It's the state legislature, and it would definitely bring more power to the states. You could probably get rid of the Department of Education, bring your education system back to the states.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You could do several things. That's the two main ones I think about is work towards a balanced budget or have a balanced
budget. One thing we need to really work on is the census because people are like so confused about, are they a citizen or are they a legal person living here and all this nonsense?
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, and that causes they like to rig that because you can get more
you
representatives.
Get
more votes.
Yeah, you get more votes in
you
the
get like
Congress if you get
say
that.
California. You know, they got, I don't know how many votes they get. Electoral votes, they have 50 or some crazy amount of votes. You know, we have 6 in Arkansas.
Well,
most states average probably 6 to 10.
Exactly.
But California's got like 50 or 40 something. And if they go through and count all their illegals,
they would already
my
lose 2
goodness.
votes. They would lose 2 votes.
No, they would gain if they counted them.
No. If they actually got rid of all the illegal immigrants, they would lose votes.
They might. I don't know. They would have to do it, you know. A true, and a lot of people don't. Then again, there's people that don't answer census anymore these days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't even know how accurate the census is anymore in these days. You know, back in the old days, they went door to door with a piece of paper, and a sheet of paper, and they wrote everybody's name down and how old they were. Because I've done enough genealogy stuff I've seen many censuses, and it's just a name, head of household. You know, simple. They even did that when I was a kid, and they come around at census time. Come to your door, you know, who's the head of the household, how old is everybody, and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I think those were much more accurate than the ones they mailed to you, and you're supposed to mail back to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I always mail mine back. I'm a good citizen.
I don't ever actually think I've seen one in the mail.
All right, you didn't fill out your sentence. You're not counted.
Oh.
I don't know how I did it.
I don't know.
I think
don't
you
know
do it
how they
online.
these days.
I actually
I don't
think you
think
do it
I've actually
online.
answered a census.
I don't know.
Uh-oh. I don't exist.
No. I think it's actually online is the way you do it now. But anyway,
Well,
that's not a big deal, but as long as everybody does it. But it can kind of skew your electoral votes in different states, you know. And that's never really come up much, but you know, I'm not sure how they do it now, but I know that anyway. This convention of state thing, I think, needs to happen, and there's a lot more people. There's a lot of people working on it. Jim DeMint is big. He's a backer of it. I think he's one of the national leaders of it, and it's just time for that to happen. But I'm curious to see how this bill comes up, but.
I'm just checking that real quick. Well, there's a lot going on. Let's see. Let's look at Gateway. Speaking of which, if you guys ever get a chance, y'all need to go to, I'm going to do some plugins real quick.
Yeah.
Y'all need to go to arkansasfirst.com, and y'all need to go and read some articles by our own contributors. What's actually, we'll bring them up real quick. Arkansas First. Yeah, us at Saline Hardliners, we are actually a part of Arkansas First. And if y'all have been watching, Miss Candy Cox, she has been doing a great job up at the Capitol with her own live stream that we have been helping her with and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Aunt Terry's been doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna switch on over so you guys can see this.
Yeah, that's live every Wednesday morning from the state capitol, from the rotunda, and from 9 o'clock a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And then her show is it 9 or 10? Had one this morning.
It's she had another one. Oh,
Yeah.
her other one's recorded.
I think it's recorded right now.
Yeah, her other one is recorded, and she does a good job on that. I believe she had Miss Emily on there. Who it was?
I don't know who's on there today.
Y'all need to go on YouTube and look that up. It's on our Arkansas First YouTube page, actually. But man, we got a lot of
good writers. We got
yeah. We got Clint. He does really good. Oh, here's Clint's thing on the USB, SB142.
Clint Lancaster.
Yeah, Clint Lancaster. I think Jennifer actually has an article on here somewhere.
Jennifer Lancaster.
Yeah, Jennifer Lancaster. But
Jimmy Cabin puts a lot of articles on there, a whole lot of articles. And some of them are opinion pieces, some of them are news pieces. It's a little of everything. It touches about everything going on. If you're a conservative thinker, MAGA contributor, it covers a whole lot of different subjects. So if you get bored with one, you can go to another one. If one interests you and another one doesn't, there's plenty of stuff on there for you to look at. Mm-hmm. Jack Sotero is big. He has a lot of articles on there. And he has really interesting articles.
We got old Jimmy Cavan on here. I got one of his articles pulled up right now. But yeah, we're growing, we're getting bigger, and we are. I'm gonna pat ourselves on the back. We've been doing pretty good, I tell you what.
Let's see what's in store tomorrow here. What else did you have going?
Right now, we can look up on. Let me get back to Gateway. Other than that, I don't really have that much left.
Hey, and if anybody is interested, if you're interested in politics, you're a political junkie like some people are. Some people hate it. Some people love it. Most any day during session, Monday through Friday. I wouldn't go Friday. Friday's not a good day, but I would say Monday through Thursday. You can go down to the state capitol. You can go to committee meetings. They're open to the public. You can look on Arkansas Legislature, and it'll tell you the agendas. Now, on these agendas, I noticed they'll have something planned. They'll have an agenda for meetings, committee meetings on bills, because the bills go to the committee meetings, and where they're approved and sent on. But lots of times you'll go through there, and at the end of the day, it'll say meeting canceled, meeting canceled, meeting canceled. But I know the FOIA bill is a big one right now, and I don't know the results of anything today. I didn't see how the votes came out on anything. But if it's anything of interest, I would look in there and send a text if you can get through to your representative or senator. Excuse me.
Yeah, don't be afraid to go find your representative senator.
But
Call
it's
them
all
up.
public. A lot of people think, well, I can't go in that committee meeting. Yeah, you can, unless they say it's some kind of a private one for some reason or another.
Yeah.
But you can go in there, and you can also go and just look down on the floor when they're on the floor, and that's the Senate or the House. So I encourage people to get involved and watch this stuff, and you go on the internet and watch the bills that are coming up. We have a lot on it on Arkansas First News. We have, if you go on there on our articles, our guys are writing a lot about these different bills, the pros and cons, because some of them are rather complicated when you read them. They read them for you not to understand. Let's put that.
Mm-hmm.
They read
They
read them for you not to understand. So they make it look good, and then you might see something. Oh no, I can't go with that. So,
yeah, they got that Save the Kitties bill, and it's really more about slaughtering kitties.
yeah, various things. Yeah, but they got all kinds of stuff going on right now, and I would encourage going to our site and reading up on some of those things, because they're the big ones they've done articles on. Next week, we're going to try to get Mike back on here, and he's been going to the legislation. He couldn't make it tonight, so he'd had he's visiting the representatives and senators and go to the committee meetings, and him and Jimmy, and they're reporting on things that are happening. And I'm going to do some more research on this convention of states. I'm really interested in that. I'm going to get a little more in depth on that, because most people don't know about it and they don't understand. I didn't understand it until I read up on it. But I think it's a good thing. It needs to be done. So, you got anything else tonight?
No, I don't. All I got is, I'm sorry, guys. Apparently, since our first episode is so new, we aren't able to do comments, apparently. So, I'm not getting none of your comments right now. So
yeah, we're going to have comments.
Yeah.
Comment time.
I really want you guys to start, commenting. I want you to send us messages. Send us on our YouTube page. Send us on our Rumble page. Send us on our Arkansas First page, actually. Comment on Candy's Facebook page whenever she's doing her live stream. We want to talk
Candy
to y'all.
Barnhill Cox. She's got 2 shows going on. So that's about it on my part.
That's all we got.
All right. And we will see you next week on Thursday night, 8 o'clock p.m. And we are going live and try to get some feedback from people, and also get some good guests on. We're going to get some good guests going on here, and we will talk to you later. We are out.
Hardliners out.